Well, hello everybody out there in YouTube land. So what I have here again is, not again, but for the first time, a signal tracer. It's a Heathkit IT-12, I think. Somewhere on here it probably says. Obviously it's a old signal tracer. Has an eye tube down below. The ability to give you some noise. You got some speaker on and off, or I guess you could put auxiliary in there, the volume level, on off switch. Let's see. Oh, there it is, IT-12 right in the back. Definitely looks like somebody did. I don't think that's a factory plug, but I could be wrong. It's an unpolarized plug. I've never taken it apart, haven't fired it up, haven't done anything with it yet. I think what I want to do is pull it out, make sure there's nothing extremely obvious wrong with it, and then bring it up on the dim bulb so I can variac it nice and slow and bring it up and make sure there's not a short, and then see how it works. And then we'll go with, I don't think there's really much in this to recap, but it has the probe on it, and we'll see. The switch feels a little bit iffy, but not too bad. We'll see, maybe throw some new coax on the probe. I mean, this stuff's here, but it feels a little bit on the dry rotted side, or brittle side, maybe not dry rotted. Yeah, but it looks like, to me, it looks like it would be the factory Heathkit probe. It says something here, but I don't know what. Somebody hand wrote RF down here, so I guess one side's AF and the other side's RF. So let me grab a screwdriver and we'll pop it apart and see what we have to do to it to turn it on and test it. And then we'll go from there. Yeah, my friend Chris brought this. I sent him on these expeditions when he's out. I found this on Craigslist for a pretty decent price. I mean, I see them going for over $100 on eBay, and I don't know if that's. I don't think I would ever pay anywhere near that, but we'll check it out and see how it works, and maybe take it for a spin. So let me get the box apart, or grab a screwdriver. We'll go from there. So you can always tell these older things, they always use a slotted screw as opposed to a Phillips. And as I was turning this, the crinkle was coming off of here. As I was loosening the screw, the crinkle coat around that was coming off there. But let's see. All right. Here we go. Yeah, that looks like that'll be a fun thing to do. Getting that plug out of there with that opening. So that's definitely something. See, it has a silicone diode, 2 vacuum tubes, a power supply capacitor. Of course, the vacuum tube down here for. I've seen bugs hang up for the eye tube. Let me see. I can't see what kind of bugs these were, but they're long since dead. I'll make sure I keep it in the shot for you. Transformer looks good. Physically looks good. I haven't checked it yet. I don't see anything oozing out of it. It doesn't look like it was burned. Alright, all in all, it looks to be in very good shape. I don't see anything questionable as far as solder joints or anything. Let's see, so this capacitor up here we definitely want to change out with a newer electrolytic. And I see a capacitor down there. It's not wax. It looks like it might be some type of molded capacitor underneath there, so that probably won't need replaced as long as everything seems to be working. We can test it out. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I think we'll be ready to give this a fire up. Let me pull all my stuff out and get it hooked up to that. and we'll see what it does. Alrighty, let me see if I can get everything in the shot here. Move the camera a little bit. I'll zoom out. So what I have here is it plugs into the isolation transformer, goes up through here. This is just one of those over-the-counter devices for reading what kind of power consumption your appliance is using. I use it just so I can have a digital readout of the voltage. And when I say over-the-counter, I guess maybe I'm insinuating that you can buy these under the counter. I don't know. Anyhow, so right now I have the variac turned all the way down. That is turned on, so we'll see what happens there. Here's going to be my current limiter. We're going up to 30, 40, probably not even enough voltage yet to get a reading out of what's going to happen here. So, all right, I'm starting to show a voltage. At least I was. All right, see it coming up. Let's see what the voltage is. Function. The volt's 99.4.3. I can see actually the green's starting to show up on that a little bit. We'll go up a little bit higher. 106.9. Still almost nothing on the bulb, on the dim bulb. At 115, 116, 119, I can see that's on. You can see the green lights on the indicator. Hold it down around 115, somewhere in that area. Let's turn this on. Well, it doesn't feel like the volume's moving. The knob's turning, but it feels like the resistor, actually the shaft, may be galded. Let's see. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I don't think it's working. No, it's working. This feels really tight. Okay. So everything seems to be working. You can see the little electric eye down there, hopefully. Let me see if I'll zoom into that a little bit for you. It's right under the light, but that's the noise. Let me turn it on. To the speaker, we already checked that works. And that's probably just the noise from just me. This would be in its basically sniffing mode, so it would be checking something. In my case, it's actually just checking me. So we had a little radio or something. Let me see if I have a transistor radio we can throw into that. I have one, but I don't have batteries down here. Yeah, so that would be basically in the mode if you were checking for some type of a noise or a signal in the circuit. You'd be in that mode where I know you really can't see the writing on it, but that's just me touching it. And then if you put it on noise, it actually generates noise into the circuit. So looks like everything in it works. There's no questions, and I think we'll look at the capacitor, the power supply capacitor, replacing that. Obviously, we'll put a new cord on it and probably even a polarized cord, and replace this, and we'll clean up the case a little bit. I see this speaker cover there looks kind of disgusting. I hate to change it away from original, but I don't know what's the story is with that. So maybe I'll put a piece of that extra stuff I got from doing the Grundig. It's kind of a gold color, maybe give it a nice dress up look. I don't think I'm going to paint the case. Sometimes when you paint things like this, it's worse off. I don't know. I'll definitely clean it up. And we'll see what we got from there. But not too much work on this, it looks like. And then maybe I'll check, make sure the tubes, everything's good, and we'll give it a go around. We'll find something we can test with it. Like that transistor radio I just had on. So this would be introduction to the IT-12. And like I said, we'll, yeah, it doesn't look like it's in bad shape at all. We'll just clean it up, make sure the resistors in it are all in tolerance, do the cap, probably, I think I'm going to replace the coax for the probe, and I think we'll be good to go. I'm not too worried about how bright the signal tube is. Seems to be working fine. I think that's one of those added touch kind of things where I don't really know how many people actually ever really needed that tube for anything, but pretty nice little tester. So that'll be the next on the project. Alrighty, so it's mostly apart. This should clean up pretty nice. This is RG58U. This looks like about a 3-foot long piece. The only thing I found on the speaker was this little hole here, and it probably matches up to right there where something looks like something hit into this thing. And I think maybe, yeah, right there you can see, right there. I think maybe this was maybe belonged to a smoker or a smoking environment. That's what a lot of the tarnishing on it is. So I'll clean a lot of this up and take this off, clean it up, then start putting it back together. And I'll have to see what capacitors I have that I can use in the place of that and how I want to mount them. We'll check back in with you in a little bit. Let's see, what else? What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, this and the cord, fixing the speaker. Oh, it looks like, I think a switch might have been changed here. I don't know what the story is with this, but the switch is definitely different than, I'll zoom in so you can see it. And I don't know if it was like that. I can't imagine it was like that. Okay, so you can see the two switches are different. This actually has threaded holes in it, and this one here has just open holes, and you have to use a nut behind it. So it was a little bit touchy getting out of there. Just different look altogether. So I don't know if that's something I'm going to run into. Maybe I'll see if I can just replace both of these switches. This one doesn't have a positive feeling as you switch it, whereas this one kind of click, click, click. This one just goes back and forth. I'll clean it up a little bit, see what happens. Maybe I'll see if I can find some reasonably priced, good-looking switches. I can't see what make either one of them have on them. In the speaker, I'll just clean. That looks like I probably can just push this back down and just put some thin glue over top of it, let it set back up, and then speakers are pretty easy to repair like that. It won't affect the sound of it. See this, like that little line there, but I think that was just where they glued the cone together from the factory. But that won't be a problem to take care of that either. Okay. So right now I want to take a look at the probe from the IT-12 and see what all's involved with it. And I'll replace the cord. So I did notice there's one screw missing. One of these little tiny screws on the end here. And the label, of course, is missing, but that's not a big deal. So let's take a look here and see what all we have going on here. Hopefully that screw's not broken there and it just fell out or something. Doop doop doop. These ones are pretty loose. I don't know how many times they've been taken in or out, or what their story is. I've got all the screws out. I imagine that I've got some replacement lead. It's just RG. Was it 8U? I'm sorry, 5.8U. 5.8, yeah. E8's the thicker stuff, and that would definitely not be a good thing to have. So I'd imagine that I could feed this through here like so. There we go. I don't know if I have any other braid. The braid's still okay, but it's just a little beat up. So, if you can see what I got here, looks like I'll clean the switch up a little bit, check that diode and capacitor, and just replace the lead. And then that'll be good. I took it out of, obviously took it out of the other side because I wanted to be able to get the case side and get it all apart and cleaned up. So we did that. And I did find some other switches for the noise, and I forget what the two items are that are on the mounted on there. And I got matching switches, so they were only a couple dollars. I figured I'll get those, and I think they were better than the ones that were there. The one was probably an original one, and it seemed to be okay, but the other looked like somebody had replaced that, and that just didn't look like it was working at all. So let's see. Yes, I'll do this. Let me see what I'm going to need to do, and I'll swap this out with the other one I have, the other cable I have, and we'll have that done. And I'll clean this up, and I'll make a new, just a different kind of label for it. This was where the label was that said, I think audio's up front and RF on the back. Somebody wrote RF there, so but I'll get this cleaned up. We'll peel this off and do that too. Okay, so there it was all soldered up. Got the new wire put in there, attached to the new ground lead, and I wanted to clean up the switch real quick. Actually, it started to put it together, realizing that I didn't film anything, and I thought, you know what, I'll take it back apart and clean the switch real quick. And we'll film it. So, I guess you can't see. Actually, I'm just working the switch over top of the garbage can. So we put in some deoxit. I'll shoot a little bit of that in there as well. Yep. Worked it a couple of times. I don't know how often this particular switch gets worked. Kind of like to take it apart and clean the contacts better and lube them up a little bit, but might be a little too far-fetched, so you know, kind of like spending hours on something that doesn't need it, and then if it doesn't work anyhow, I'll have to replace the switch. But so there we have that. This is a, what does it say? 4 amp 125 volt AC or 1 amp 125 volt DC, and it's made by Stackpole. So, I've documented that in case I ever need to know what the specs on the switch are. See, there's a method to my madness. All right, so I'm going to finish putting it back together. Basically, it just kind of slides in. Like you see, I cleaned that all up, and then the switch will just push right on in. Oops. Get that lined up like that. There's the switch, and then once I get it in there, I pull it up and put the screws in. So put those screws in and then put the rest back together. Okay, so there it is, all done. Still need to get one more screw. I cleaned the screws all up, but I did not replace them. If I had them, I'd replace them, but I don't have them. So put an alligator clip on this end, and the lead's ready to go over on this end. Well, not ready to go. I still have to decide how much I need, but so I'll put back together, and that should take care of that. The only other thing I have to do is make a label for it, but I don't want to put that on until after it's ready to go, because you know I'll be spraying cleaner or using a soldering iron or something, and then it'll be all for naught. So. Okay, as the guts of the IT-12 sit here on the bench, not much unlike roadkill in the middle of the highway. What I think I have to move on to is, because I'm still messing with the great capacitor issue, and I have an idea for that, but I'm going to wait until I get something lined up before I say any more. But in the meantime, those switches I had ordered came. The guy actually sent me 3. He said, just in case one didn't work. Which, that's a little scary, but I mean, they look new, but you know how things are. So we'll see. We'll try one and make sure. Well, I'll try 2 and make sure they work. First, I want to make sure they're about the right size. And my theory is I'll unsolder the top one, and then I can get to the bottom one, put the bottom one in, and then put the top one back in. Alright, so let me go get the case, and we'll see how it fits in the case. Okay, when I say case, I mean cover. I just have a little problem with my words sometimes. So the bolt holes are very nice. The switch is a little smaller, but I was playing them. The feeling is real good. It's got a nice positive click and clack, so to speak. So we'll check it with the ohm meter real quick, just to make sure. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine, but even the one I don't check is the one I'm going to waste the time putting in, and it won't work. So let me get this bad onion over here. Plugged in the wrong leads, but that's okay. I have too many leads everywhere right now. So we'll use this ohm meter. And maybe we'll even put it on alert. Whoa, did you hear that? That's an alert. Okay, I'm sorry. So here's, let's see. That's the switch in one position. Switch in the other position. Back to the first. That one, she works good. And we'll just grab one of these other ones here. And do the same test. That's the switch in one position. Switch in other position. Come on. My leads fell off right at the climax there. Alright, here's one position, other position, one position. Okay, so both of these work fine. I'm not going to bother checking the other one because I'm not using it right now for one thing, and for another I'll forget about it. I'll forget why I tested it. Alright, so let me spin this around, turn this off, get this up out of our way, move that over here for like so, and I'll show you what I'll probably have to do. Destroy the speaker, okay. So if you look into here, you can see this switch right here, the top one. I'll try and zoom into it for you. Yeah, always go the wrong way first. You can see the top one has some wires and a resistor soldered to it. So I can't move that out of the way. So if I pull that out, if I unsolder that, get that out of the way, then I can change the bottom one, put the bottom one back, and then the top one. Theoretically speaking. So that shouldn't really be a big deal, but you know how things go. Let me do that. No sense in running the camera while I'm doing. I'm actually going to use the solder sucker and suck the solder out of there. Then I will tune back in when we're ready for something else. After I get that on, I believe I can put the face back, or the gizzards back in. Just won't put the holder for the electric eye tube, and I'll leave area where I can get. I won't put the back cord in where I can get at that capacitor. So I'm just thinking out loud here. Okay, I'll be back. So nothing truly exciting. That the switch is in place. I'm actually going to replace a resistor that I came upon in there. I figured because I had to take both ends of it off anyhow. It's a 68K, and you'll see I check it here. You can zoom in on the ohm meter there, and don't be expecting anything earth-shattering. 68K comes out to be about 72, which is still well under 10%. I'm imagining, but I had some 68Ks, so I'll throw one in because they're just going to sit here for forever anyhow. So we'll replace that. And I thought while I was in there, I'll also replace the, I don't know if you saw the meter, it's 72K, big deal. Well, I figured while I was in here, I also was cleaning up where the conduit or the coax for the probe went, and I thought this would be a good time to actually put it back in because it goes behind the switches. So before I solder this switch back in, I will put the conduit, run it through the hole there. I have enough, it's 4 feet, and I can put it there. This will be well out of my way. And then that'll be done, and that'll make it a lot easier. So we'll press on here. You know, when I'm doing this kind of work on coax, what I like to do, I don't have a stripper for this. I guess I really probably do, but I don't feel like putting it all together for just doing this. But what I do is I take a razor blade and lightly score it long ways for perpendicular to the opening. And then you can just kind of peel it back, as you see. And you don't have to worry about going too deep and hitting the copper braid in there, or whatever kind of braid you have in there. And the other thing is, if you go around it, because then you can take your clippers and you can actually just gently clip the plastic away. But if you go around it and you go too deep, then you've kind of cut through your copper. So that should probably be enough. Looks like about an inch should do just fine. So then what I'll do is I'll take a pair of snips and I'll start cutting this away and just keep going around it until it's nice and smooth. That's the nice thing, if you have a stripper, it's a lot faster. A wire stripper, that is. It's a lot faster you know, it does a nicer job, but this is actually going to be inside the case, behind everything, so I'll know it. But yeah, so you can see what I'm doing is here, I'm just clipping it with these. I actually have a better pair of clippers for doing this, but this will work just fine. Then eventually you'll have it nice clipped all the way around where it'll be nice and squared off. But just something I figured I'd pass on. Okay, got the switches all soldered in and resistor replaced, cord, the wires in. Kind of setting a dummy on there to make sure everything fits, looks like it's going to fit okay. So the next thing I want to do is, I don't know. Oh, I'm going to try and start the bolts for those switches, see if I can get that done. Then once I get that in, I think the rest is pretty much easy. I tried to do it before without taking the tube and everything out. It was a little bit tougher, but I think with the tube in there, out there, I'll be able to get right at it. And then I'll show you what I came up with. I'll finish cleaning the rest of the front switches and everything. And I'll show you what I came up with for the speaker cover. It's the same one I used in the doohickey, the Grundig radio. And just turn the soldering stuff down. It doesn't need to be that hot. Okay, so let me get started on that. I'm going to go get some screws and we'll see where we end up with. Got a whole bunch of number 6 by 3/8 screws from other projects. So I think I know a little bag of them laying around here somewhere too. So I have to start on that first. So I will be back. Okay, there it is. Not the finished product, but the speaker grill's in, the switches are in. These are in. I got some more terminals and stuff to clean up. I got to clean up these washers. Just using some pull it shut. Back here the capacitor, and I'll show you what I've come up with that. And then that should be it. After I put the cap in, I can throw the cord in. And I think I showed you success with that. It'll be pretty easy to put that in. So I'll clean up a little bit more and put a little bit more of the face together and probably tune back in either when that's all done or when I get what I'm waiting for that. I think it was probably the most reasonable, easiest solution I found, and if it works, then great. If not, back to the drawing board. Okay, so here's my thought. There you go, tube socket. If it fits in there, it'll be a piece of cake because it'll act not only as a mount for the capacitors, but also as a terminal strip. So let's see what we have to do to make it fit. Looks like actually like that'll fit nicely. I was thinking I might have to auger out the hole a little bit, but it fits in there nicely. So I'm going to mount the capacitors in here like so, hopefully. I don't know the exact orientation. I made up a little chart there so I can find it out, but we'll put all the negatives through the center. Looks like I might have to drill a little hole through them to get the caps all the way through. But I'll put these like that with the ground through the center. Hold them down. Grounds will come out to here, probably tie to this pin here and then to the terminal strip here. And that's where I'll make all my other ground connections. So stay tuned. Yeah, like I said, I think I may have to just, I'm not sure how to get through that. I could actually, I don't want to pull the pin out because I'm going to want that for the connection. I can see daylight down there. I don't know why it's not going through. Maybe it's not enough daylight. Well, there we go. There we go. It came through. So there would be one. And again, I don't know if this is going to be the final layout. Just do it for camera's sake. Oop. No, yeah. No, yeah. there's 2, and then 3 would be maybe like right here. And again, like I said, I've laid the, I drew up how these will have to be situated in order to, this one's a little bit tight, but I can make that bigger. I drew up a little diagram of how these will have to be situated, the 20, 50, and 50. So that, because the wires are already kind of run to that area. Okay, stay tuned, I'll be back. Oops, okay, so there's the finished product. And what I had to do was trying to line that up by looking at the monitor. I had to drill the holes where the pins come through just a little bit bigger, just a wee little tiny bit, just to get the leads through. And since it was porcelain, I just kind of went real slow with a wee little tiny bit, and it actually went right through without a problem. So now, to put this in here, like so. So let's see, this little guy goes up front. According to my drawing, it would be up front, and here's how it would go. Just like this. So make the connections. There's actually 3 resistors that are going to get replaced because I'm unsoldering them anyhow. I checked them, they're actually a little bit high, like maybe 20%. So like a ton of resistors, I'll just put them in there. That wasn't a big issue. And I can use the existing nuts and bolts to hold this in place. And then I'll flip it over and show you what it looks like. Okay, so there it is all installed. As you can see, I ended up replacing a whole bunch of different resistors. And even had to reroute some wires, just things were too tight. So I'll go over it and make sure that I didn't do something wrong. I'll fire it up on the Variac, and we'll see what happens. And then after that, we'll be good to go, hopefully, if it fires up and I didn't mess something up. So, okay. Just figured I'd show you how that turned out. Let's see if you can see what I did down there. Alrighty, we'll be back. Well, I will anyhow. Okay, so there it is with the new power cord into it and everything put on it. Everything looks to be done from the front. I'll turn it to the on position and bring my probe over this way so we have it where we need it. I have the device plugged into the torture chamber, and I have it set to limit it through the light bulbs. So now I'm going to start to turn it up. It was about 60 or 70, I think, last time. Oop, I guess I'll turn it on first. There we go. The power's on. I'll start to bring it up. Coming up around 50. Okay, the voltage finally started to kick on over there a little bit. Still not enough to read. Could put a regular voltmeter in there and find out. Let's see, function, volts, still a bit low. 63 volts. Oh, sorry, 89. There we go. It's starting 89. Looks like the little green light's starting to come on. 107, 109. Speaker off works. Try the noise. Ah! I think I have to read up on that to see what. So that would be for finding the noise in a circuit. Let me see if I ground it. Theoretically, it should get really quiet, which it does. And I think RF's the rearward. It becomes more sensitive. Okay, so I think I got it figured out. There's something I'm gonna have to check here, and I think I know kind of what it is. It's such a tight fit in here. I'll bet you that part of the coax is actually hitting inside here, but no. So anyhow, that I have to take care of. But here we go into the radio. I don't know if you can see where I'm probing at over here. Probably not. Let me see. I'll just pick something and it's going to be close to the speaker, so I assume it's going to be the AF section. So there it is. And then when I increase the gain by changing it to, I guess it's RF. I can't remember. Let's see. No, that must have been AF because you can hear it gotten quieter. I got to really turn it up. So I have the speaker disconnected. I have the speaker disconnected in the radio. That's what I was trying to do. Just shut up. Shut up. It's just to test this to see if it's working. So it's working. The little eye's working, and the noise. I have to find something I can test the noise with, but I do get the voltage that it would be putting through the component. Quiet! Quiet! If you look back there at the voltmeter, that's when I'm testing through here. I don't know if you can see it that well. See, it's around 120 something. Let's see, and I think this is supposed to be like this. If I flip this to the rear position, it goes off. Put it back. Also, if I turn the noise off, it goes off. So basically, it's if you're looking for a noisy component, you put it in and move it around. It makes a static. But before I want to try that, I want to find out what is in the what's in the probe that's making noise, so we can get that fixed right away. Okay. Okay, that was an easy fix. The shield here makes a loop and comes up and gets pinched in between the case and this black end cap, and it had pulled through, and it wasn't making the connection. I really didn't realize it was supposed to make that connection until I looked at it and said, oh, that looks like that's supposed to be attached there. So I pulled it through, and now, as you can see, It's nice and quiet. So let's find something. I don't know if I have anything that can make a noise. Alright, so in this radio, I have it set on noise, and the funny thing is like if I touch just about anything that's ground, all my noise goes away. If I touch the outer case of these capacitors, that's the electrolytics. As you can see, some are louder than the others. I don't know if you can really see what I'm clicking on here, or touching, because it's not very big. But like this one right here. There's no battery in it or anything. But as I go, like if I touch the resistors, I get nothing. However, that's not a really accurate test because I don't know which components are bad. I guess while I go on a quest for bad components, this seems to be a wrap. And I wish that maybe the light was a little bit brighter, but that's fine. I don't really use that too much, but I think all in all it looks pretty. It's me touching stuff with. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. So I want to put it back together, and we're going to go on a quest for things to check with it. But it's been running for about half an hour with no issues whatsoever, so I call that a success. Nothing's blown up. I double checked all the resistors that I put them in the right spot, new power cord, and make sure nothing back here. Okay, so this is it all put back together with its handy dandy little cord. It's in the case. I cleaned the case, but I did not repaint it. I'm not going to repaint it, and the more I cleaned it, the more the paint was flaking off, so I kind of left that part alone. But I think it looks pretty good, well, especially from the front. We'll look for some things to test. Maybe we can do a quick video on testing stuff with it. Yeah, I think it's like anything. When you get used to using it, the more you get used to using it, the more helpful it'll be. I'm not used to using one of these. Even the one I built, I didn't get a chance to use it that much. I think I used it a little bit. Thank you. I think I used it a little bit when I was working on the Holocrafters. At one point it lost all the sound, and it just ended up being dirty contacts in one of the tubes, actually. But that's all for this. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed it.